Some of the best teachers in life never come holding a pen. They don't sit in classrooms or give you homework. They just arrive, quietly, unexpectedly, and leave a lesson that changes you forever. Betrayal shows up wearing a friendly face, only to stab you in the back. It hurts, but it teaches you who truly deserves your trust. Time doesn't rush. It makes you wait, makes you question, but in the silence, it builds your patience. Rejection slams doors in your face, not to destroy you, but to redirect you. Failure strips away your pride, your ego. But once you hit the ground, you learn how to stand back up, stronger. Heartbreak, it tears you open, exposing your most fragile parts. But through that pain, you discover your strength, your depth. Experiences, both good and bad, shape your perspective and guide your choices. Empty pockets teach you value, not of money, but of hard work, gratitude, and humility. And mistakes? They're not signs of weakness. They are signposts on the road to wisdom, reminding you what not to repeat. You see, life doesn't always teach with comfort. It teaches through the chaos, the silence, the struggle. And those rough moments, the ones you wish never happened, often turn out to be your greatest lessons. Because in the end, pain sharpens you, not destroys you. And the toughest chapters, they make you the wisest student. In today's journey, we'll walk through the 8 most unexpected yet powerful teachers of life, the ones that break you, build you, and turn you into someone unshakable. Point 1. Betrayal. Betrayal. A word so small, yet it cuts so deep. It doesn't knock before entering. It walks into your life wearing a familiar face, a friend, a lover, a family member, someone you trusted, someone you never expected to hurt you. And then one day, they do. Not by accident, not by mistake, but in a way that leaves you speechless. That's the moment your world shifts. The ground feels shaky. You start questioning everything, every word they said, every memory you made, every moment you believed was real. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your trust in people, in promises, and sometimes even in yourself. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Betrayal is one of life's greatest teachers. It teaches you who people really are when the mask falls off. It shows you who stands with you when it's hard to stand. And most importantly, it teaches you to stand for yourself. That pain you felt, that heavy, unbearable weight in your chest, it was a lesson. A hard one, yes, but it was necessary. Think about it. If you were never betrayed, would you have learned to set boundaries? If they never hurt you, would you still be giving away your loyalty too easily? Would you have grown the strength to walk away from toxic people if life never forced you to? Sometimes we need to be betrayed, not because we deserve pain, but because we deserve truth. Betrayal uncovers things we refuse to see. It brings out our blind spots. It forces us to wake up. And no, healing from betrayal isn't quick. It takes time to forgive, not just them, but yourself. You start to wonder, how could I not see this coming? You blame yourself for being too kind, too trusting, too hopeful. But here's a shift in perspective. Being betrayed doesn't mean you were weak. It means you were real. You loved without holding back. You believed when others couldn't. You were brave enough to open your heart. That's not a weakness. That's strength the world needs more of. But betrayal also teaches you balance. It doesn't mean you stop trusting everyone. It means you start trusting yourself more. You learn to read energy, not just words. You observe actions, not just promises. You begin to see through the smile that hides a knife. You learn to protect your peace, not out of fear,
but out of wisdom. Look around at the strongest people in the world. They've all been betrayed at some point, not once, but multiple times. And yet, they didn't let it turn them cold. They turned it into fuel. They used the betrayal as a mirror to reflect, to grow, to rise. And you can do the same. You're not meant to carry that pain forever. You're meant to learn from it, and then let it go. Not for them, but for your own freedom. Let's be real. Betrayal will happen again. Maybe not from the same person, maybe not in the same way, but it's a part of life. People change, loyalties shift, but the question is, will you stay down, or will you stand up smarter, stronger, sharper? When betrayal hits, take a moment, cry if you need to, break down if you must, but then rebuild, piece by piece, step by step, because hidden inside that betrayal is a gift, the gift of clarity, the gift of self-worth, the gift of awakening. So, next time someone betrays you, don't just ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Ask, "What is life trying to teach me right now?" You'll be surprised at the answer.
And you'll realize betrayal didn't break you. It introduced you to a stronger version of yourself you didn't know existed. Because at the end of the day, betrayal teaches you the most painful truth, but also the most powerful lesson. You don't need anyone who doesn't respect your value. You don't need to beg for loyalty. And most of all, you don't need to lose yourself to keep someone else. Question for you. Can you remember the moment your heart broke and your eyes finally opened? Point 2. Time. Time doesn't shout. It doesn't chase you. It doesn't beg for your attention. It simply moves, second by second, breath by breath, silently and steadily. And in its quiet movement, time teaches the loudest lessons. It is the most patient of all teachers, the most consistent, and often the most misunderstood. Most of us are either trying to race ahead of it or are being dragged behind by it. But very few truly sit with time and learn what it's trying to say. Time teaches patience, not through comfort, but through delay. It makes you wait for things you want right now. It stretches your desire, pulls at your will, and holds back your plans just long enough to see if you truly have the strength to keep believing. It watches how you respond when your prayers go unanswered, when your dreams take longer than expected, when everyone around you seems to be winning and you're stuck in place. In those quiet, frustrating moments, time is asking you one question: can you still have faith when nothing is happening? But time doesn't just delay, it also heals. Think about the heartbreaks, the betrayals, the losses you thought you'd never recover from. In the beginning, every breath hurt, every day felt heavy. But then, slowly, without even noticing, you started smiling again, laughing again, hoping again. That was time at work, not by force, not by magic, just by showing up day after day, reminding you that no pain is permanent if you just keep moving. Time also teaches us about value. When we waste time on the wrong people, the wrong goals, the wrong lifestyle, we realize, often too late, that time doesn't wait for anyone. It's the only thing you can never earn back. Money, fame, love, all of it can be lost and found again. But time? Once it's gone, it's gone. That's why time is so powerful. It reminds you that your hours, your days, your years, they are your most precious currency. You spend them with every choice you make. So the question becomes, are you spending time on what matters, or are you just letting it slip through your fingers? And then comes the hardest lesson of all. Time reveals truth. People can fake words for a while, but over time, their actions speak louder. A relationship may seem perfect in the beginning, but over time, patterns show.
A friend may support you today, but will they still be there when you're struggling? Time exposes loyalty. It filters out what's fake. It rewards consistency and unmasks pretenders. And when someone walks out of your life, it's not always a loss. Sometimes it's time doing the cleaning for you. Time also gives you perspective. What felt like the end of the world 5 years ago, today it's just a memory. What made you cry last year, today it might be something you laugh about. That's not because the pain was small. It's because time made you bigger than the pain. It grew your heart, expanded your mind, deepened your soul. The older you get, the more you understand most things aren't as serious as they seem in the moment. And sometimes the things you were so desperate to have were never meant for you. Time shows you that too. But perhaps the most beautiful lesson time gives is this: everything happens when it's supposed to. You may not understand the timing. You may think life is too slow or too late, but time has its own rhythm. A flower doesn't bloom because you yell at it to grow. It blooms when the season is right. The same goes for you. Your season is coming, and when it does, all that waiting will make sense. So don't rush the process. Don't envy someone else's timeline. Don't judge your worth by how fast or slow things are happening in your life. Instead, trust time. Walk with it. Learn from it. Let it shape you. Because time isn't your enemy. It's your silent sculptor, slowly carving you into the person you're meant to be. Not overnight, not all at once, but through every sunrise you didn't notice, every tear you wiped alone, every quiet victory you kept to yourself. Time was always there, shaping your story. And one day when you look back, you'll realize time didn't just pass. It prepared you. Question for you. Are you waiting patiently or wasting precious moments chasing what's not meant for you?
Point 3. Rejection. Rejection stings. It slams a door in your face and leaves you standing in the cold, confused, hurt, and questioning your worth. Whether it's the college that didn't accept you, the job that went to someone else, or the person who chose not to love you back, rejection feels like a punch to the chest. It tells you you're not enough. And that voice, it echoes. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you wonder if you should have tried harder, looked better, done more. But here's the truth nobody says out loud. Rejection isn't the end of the road. It's a redirection towards something better, something right. You see, life doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what you need to grow. And sometimes that growth begins with a no. That painful, unexpected no is often the first step toward a stronger, wiser version of you. It doesn't feel that way in the moment, of course. In the moment, rejection feels like failure. But in reality, it's guidance in disguise. Think about it. How many times have you begged for something? A relationship, a promotion, an opportunity, only to be devastated when it didn't work out. And yet, months or years later, you looked back and whispered, "Thank God that didn't happen." That's the beauty of rejection. It protects you from paths not meant for you. It clears space for the right things to find you. But to see that, you have to stop taking rejection personally. Because here's the shift. Rejection doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that situation wasn't aligned with your purpose. The job wasn't your calling. The person wasn't your future. The opportunity wasn't meant for your timeline. Rejection, at its core, is not a punishment. It's a filter. It removes what's not yours so you can focus on what truly is. And let's talk about confidence. Rejection shakes it hard, but that's when real confidence is built. Not the fake kind that shows up when everything's going right. The real kind. The one that says, "I still believe in me, even when the world says no." Every time you face rejection and still choose to move forward, You build emotional muscle. You train your heart to stay open even after it's been shut out. And that's power. Some of the most successful people in the world have been rejected more times than they can count. J.K. Rowling's manuscript was turned down by a dozen publishers. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Imagine if they let those rejections define them. Imagine if they gave up. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck isn't talent, it's resilience. So the next time someone says no to you, don't break, bend. Shift your direction, recalculate your steps. Rejection doesn't mean your dream is dead. It just means there's another way to get there, maybe even a better one. You just haven't seen it yet. And yes, rejection hurts. It's okay to cry, to feel that pain, but don't let that pain settle into your soul. Let it push you forward. Let it fuel your growth, because someday you'll thank that no. You'll thank the person who walked away, the company that didn't hire you, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers, because all of them were pointing you towards something greater. So when the world tells you you're not the one, maybe it's not the world saying it. Maybe it's life whispering, not here, not yet, but trust me, I've got something better. Question for you. Have you ever looked back and realized the thing you wanted so badly was actually never good for you? Point 4, failure. Failure. Even the word feels heavy. No one likes to talk about it. No one wants to feel it. It's the thing we all try to avoid, the fear that keeps us from trying, the ghost that haunts our dreams. But here's the truth no one tells you in school. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. You can't truly grow, evolve, or rise without falling first. You can't taste real success without first feeling what it's like to hit rock bottom. Failure doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're beginning. It's life's way of stripping away your ego, your illusions, and your comfort zone so you can rebuild from a place of truth. Think about it. When you succeed, you celebrate. But when you fail, you reflect. And that reflection, that's where transformation begins. Failure forces you to look inward, to ask better questions, to sharpen your skills, and to strengthen your will.
Some of the world's greatest minds failed, not once, but many times. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. These are not failures. These are foundations. They're the cracks where character is built. And in those cracks, grit is born. Failure also humbles you. It makes you realize you're not invincible. You're human. And that's not a weakness. That's where your power begins. Because once you accept that failing is not the end, you stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing it, you start playing bigger. You take risks. You try again. You get back up with dirt on your knees and fire in your heart. That's the real game changer. But let's be honest. Failure hurts. It bruises your pride. It embarrasses you. It makes you feel small. Maybe you studied hard but still didn't pass. Maybe you poured your heart into a project that didn't work. Maybe you started something with passion only to watch it crash and burn. In those moments, it's easy to say, I'm not good enough. But pause. Breathe. Look deeper. What if that failure is exactly what you needed to become the person you're meant to be? Failure is feedback. It shows you what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. It sharpens your thinking. It forces creativity. It builds resilience. Every time you fail and rise again, you become harder to break. That strength? No success can give you that. Only failure can.
And here's the crazy part. The people around you might laugh when you fail. They might doubt you, ignore you, but that's not your job to worry about. Your job is to keep going. Because the people who laugh now will be the ones clapping later, if you don't quit. Failure is temporary. Regret, that's forever. So which one will you choose? And remember, failing doesn't make you a failure. Quitting does. As long as you're still trying, still learning, still growing, you're already winning in ways success alone can't teach. Let your failure be your fuel. Let it burn so brightly that it lights the path not just for you, but for those watching you in silence, hoping you make it. So the next time you fall, don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? What can I learn? What can I change? What can I build from here? Because when you rise after failure, you rise differently. Not with arrogance, but with wisdom. Not with noise, but with quiet strength. And that strength, that version of you, is what failure came to reveal all along. Question for you. When everything falls apart, can you still choose to believe in yourself just one more time? Point 5. Heartbreak. Heartbreak. It's not just the breaking of a heart. It's the breaking of expectations, dreams, and the version of the future you once held so close. It's waking up and realizing the person you thought would be there forever is gone. It's the silence after the storm, the ache that lingers in the chest, even when you're smiling. It's not always about romance. Heartbreak comes in many forms. The friend who betrayed you, the family member who let you down, the opportunity you lost, the version of yourself you miss. And no matter the reason, the feeling is the same, raw, heavy, and suffocating. But here's the truth. Heartbreak, as cruel as it feels, is not your end. It's your awakening. Because there's something heartbreak does that happiness never could. It strips away your illusions. It reveals the depth of your soul. It shows you what truly matters and what never did. When your heart breaks, your true self starts to speak. Not the version of you that's trying to impress or please, but the real you, the one that longs for meaning, growth, truth. Yes, heartbreak teaches you pain, but it also teaches you resilience. You learn how to pick yourself up when no one else is around. You learn how to sit with silence, cry without shame, and still show up for life. You begin to realize that healing is not a straight line. It's a journey of rediscovery. And along the way, you find strength in the most unexpected places.
Sometimes heartbreak is life's way of removing the people or things that were never meant to stay. You don't see it in the moment. In that moment, it feels like your world is ending. But later, when you've grown, when you've healed, you look back and whisper, "Now I understand why it had to happen." It's in heartbreak that you start to set boundaries. You stop begging for attention. You stop chasing people who don't choose you. You learn to love yourself, not as a backup, but as a first choice. You realize that someone else's inability to love you properly says more about them than it does about you. You start to value your own heart. You protect your peace. You honor your emotions. You stop settling. And yes, there will be days when you miss them, days when memories come rushing back, days when your chest feels heavy for no reason. That's okay. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means forgiving. Not necessarily them, but yourself, for staying too long, for ignoring the red flags, for giving too much to someone who gave too little. And that forgiveness? That's what sets you free. Heartbreak also teaches you empathy. Once you've been broken, you understand the pain of others more deeply. You become gentler, softer,
Not weaker, but wiser. You stop judging people's silence because you know what it's like to cry behind closed doors. You offer more kindness, more compassion. And that makes you beautiful in ways the world can't always see. Many people fear heartbreak, so they shut down. They build walls. They refuse to love again. But here's a truth you need to hold close. Your ability to love after heartbreak is not your weakness, it's your superpower. The fact that you can still open your heart, still care deeply, still believe in connection, that's the bravest thing you can do. The world needs more people like that. So if you're in the middle of heartbreak right now, know this: you are not alone. Your pain is real, but it is also temporary. One day, this wound will become your wisdom. The same heart that feels shattered today will beat stronger tomorrow. You will smile again, not because someone else fills the void, but because you finally remembered who you are. Because heartbreak doesn't just break you, it rebuilds you. Not into who you were, but into someone more powerful, more aware, more alive. Question for you: is your pain holding you back or preparing you to love yourself better than ever before? Point 6. Experiences. Experiences are the most powerful teachers we will ever have in life. Unlike textbooks or lectures, experiences are raw, real, and deeply personal. They don't come with a syllabus or a grading system. Instead, they arrive unexpectedly, sometimes as joyful milestones, sometimes as harsh blows, and leave marks on our hearts and minds that shape who we become. Every moment we live, every situation we face, adds a unique chapter to our story. These moments are the building blocks of wisdom and strength that no classroom can offer. Think back to a time when you faced a challenge all alone. Maybe it was your first major failure, a difficult decision, or a painful loss. Remember the mix of emotions you felt: fear, uncertainty, doubt. That moment wasn't easy, but it forced you to find courage you didn't know you had. That kind of courage doesn't come from reading books or listening to motivational speeches. It comes from living through the experience and realizing deep inside that you can survive and even thrive. Experiences push us beyond our comfort zones, making us stronger, smarter, and more adaptable. They teach us resilience, perseverance, and the value of patience. But experiences don't just teach us strength, they teach us empathy and compassion. When you've been hurt, you understand the pain of others more deeply. When you've lost something precious, you know the true value of what remains. When you've stumbled and fallen, you stop judging others too harshly for their mistakes. Experiences humanize us. They soften our hearts, deepen our understanding, and make us kinder. Through pain and joy alike, we learn to connect with others on a real, authentic level.
One of the hardest things to accept is that experiences don't always come in pleasant packages. Sometimes life hits us with unexpected losses, betrayals, or failures. Those painful experiences can feel unfair or cruel. But even these dark moments are lessons in disguise. They reveal our true strength and resilience. They teach us what really matters in life: love, honesty, self-respect, and inner peace. Painful experiences force us to reevaluate our priorities, let go of what no longer serves us, and embrace change. Without these moments, our growth would be shallow and incomplete.
Your experiences are also your story, unique to you and no one else. Every joy, every sorrow, every lesson learned adds depth and meaning to that story. They build your character and your identity. The mistakes you've made, the people you've met, the challenges you've overcome. All of these experiences combine to form the person you are today. And that person, shaped by real life, is infinitely valuable. It's important to embrace every experience, even those that seem negative at first. Sometimes, the hardest lessons come wrapped in difficult circumstances, but these lessons often prove to be the most valuable over time. They teach us humility, gratitude, and wisdom. They prepare us to face future challenges with confidence, and they remind us that life's journey isn't about perfection, it's about growth. In a world obsessed with quick fixes and instant success, experiences remind us that true wisdom is earned through time and trial. They teach us to appreciate the process, the small victories and the setbacks alike. Every experience adds a layer to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. So when life throws you a curveball, or when things don't go as planned, don't despair. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How is this experience shaping me? When you shift your mindset to see experiences as teachers rather than obstacles, you open yourself up to growth and transformation. Ultimately, experiences make your life story rich and meaningful. They give you lessons that no book or teacher can give. They prepare you not only to survive, but to thrive, wiser, stronger, and more compassionate than before. Question for you. Which experience changed your life so deeply that nothing has ever been the same since? Point 7. Empty pockets. There's something brutally honest about having empty pockets. It strips you down to the basics. It removes the distractions, the privileges, the illusions. When you have no money, no comfort, no fallback plan, you begin to see the world for what it really is. And more importantly, you begin to see yourself, who you are without the safety net, who shows up when you're broke, what you're truly made of. Empty pockets teach you more than wealth ever could. They teach you humility. You stop judging people based on what they wear or what they drive, because now you know what it feels like to go without. You learn to respect effort over appearance. You begin to admire the person who keeps trying, not the one who has it all. Because when you've stood in the line with just enough for one meal, you understand the value of food. When you've worn the same shoes for years, you understand the meaning of endurance. And when you've been too broke to buy a gift, you learn that presence matters more than presents. But perhaps the most powerful lesson empty pockets teach is resourcefulness. When you have no money, you become creative. You find ways to make things work. You stretch what you have. You learn how to survive, not because you want to, but because you have to. That survival mindset builds grit. And grit, that's the one thing no amount of money can buy. It's earned in the dark, in the silence, in the moments when no one's watching, but you're still pushing.
Empty pockets also show you people's true colors. When you have nothing to offer, no fancy dinners, no expensive favors, you start to see who sticks around. Some people will disappear when your wallet runs dry, and that's okay. Let them go, because in your lowest moments, you don't need company, you need truth. And truth shows up fast when you have nothing left to give. Some of the world's most successful people started with nothing. Oprah grew up in poverty. Elon Musk once lived off borrowed money. Steve Harvey slept in his car for years. These people didn't just overcome poverty, they used it. They let the hunger drive them. They let the struggle sharpen them. And eventually, they turn their pain into power. There's a strange freedom that comes with having nothing. You're not afraid to lose because you already know what that feels like. That fearlessness can become your strength. You stop chasing approval. You start chasing growth. And slowly, step by step, you climb. Not because someone handed you a ladder, but because you built your own with nothing but your bare hands and your burning will. And let's be clear, being broke is not glamorous. It's stressful. It's scary. It makes you question your worth. But those questions, they lead to answers that success often hides. You start asking, what do I really want? What am I capable of? How far can I go without comfort? And those answers shape your character more than any luxury ever could. If you're in that season of life right now where the bills are stacking up and your bank account is nearly empty, know this: you are not broken. You are being built. Life isn't punishing you, it's preparing you. Every meal you stretch, every late-night hustle, every decision you make without a safety net, it's teaching you how to stand on your own. So don't be ashamed of your empty pockets. Wear them like armor. Let them remind you that you're in the middle of a story, and every great story has a chapter where the hero has nothing but heart. This is yours. One day, when your hands are full and your pockets are heavy, you'll look back and smile. Not because you missed the struggle, but because you'll know that's where your fire was born. Question for you: what matters more? What's in your pocket or what's in your heart? Point 8. Mistakes. Mistakes. We all make them. Some small, some big, some obvious, some hidden. Yet they carry a secret power that most people miss. Mistakes aren't the enemy. They are the blueprint for your growth, your success, and your transformation. Every mistake you make is a step forward, a lesson learned, a chance to do better next time.
It's easy to feel ashamed or discouraged when you mess up, to feel like a failure or that you've wasted time. But what if you changed the way you see mistakes? What if mistakes were simply feedback, pointing you toward what doesn't work so you can find what does? Mistakes reveal your weaknesses, not to break you, but to help you build strength. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times. Each fall is a mistake, yet it's essential. Without those falls, they would never learn to stand or run. Mistakes are just like those falls in life, necessary, inevitable, and ultimately powerful. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't avoiding mistakes, but how they respond to them. Mistakes teach humility. They remind you that you're human and that perfection is a myth. They give you a chance to reflect, to adjust, and to improve. Without mistakes, there is no innovation, no creativity. Every great invention, every breakthrough was born from countless mistakes. The key is to embrace mistakes, not fear them, to see them as opportunities for growth rather than reasons to quit. When you make a mistake, don't run away or hide. Face it head on. Ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I do better next time? That mindset turns mistakes into stepping stones. Many successful people have made huge mistakes, but they didn't stop there. Thomas Edison made thousands of failed attempts before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter manuscript was rejected many times. Michael Jordan missed countless shots before becoming a legend. Their stories aren't about never failing, they're about never giving up. Mistakes also build resilience. Each time you recover from a mistake, you become stronger, your confidence grows, your patience deepens, and your wisdom expands. You learn that a mistake is not the end of the world, but a new beginning.
It's important to forgive yourself for your mistakes. Holding on to guilt or shame only slows you down. Accept that making mistakes is part of the human experience. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your courage to try, to risk, and yes, to fail. Remember, the greatest mistake is not making any mistakes at all, because that usually means you're not trying. Life rewards the brave, not the perfect. So dare to step out, to fail, and to rise again. In the end, your mistakes aren't marks of shame. They're badges of honor. They tell the story of a person who dared to grow, to learn, and to evolve. And that story, that's your true success. Question for you. When you look back, which mistake taught you the most about yourself? Remember, life's greatest teachers aren't the easy moments. They're the struggles, the failures, and the lessons learned along the way. Keep growing, keep believing, and never stop moving forward. Your best chapter is yet to come.